bomber jacket.
You ever swing a pick before, Mr.
Oh no, Jen.
Chen, John, and but I'm a hard worker, and I learn fast, and I don't mind long hours.
You don't have somebody waiting on you at home?
No, sir.
Ah,
Well, John, guess you're a hell diver now.
didn't even know just kids had even existed anymore.
I'm glad he held on to it, for whatever it's worth.
So I wanted to destroy this jacket after the accident. I couldn't do it. Perhaps some part of me knew that one day I need to pass it along. I did first time my father looking for his father. I swore I would one day return this jacket to him. And I will return it to both of you. I think you now know that my word is worth. I did not deserve your forgiveness, but it moved me more than I knew it was possible. I was going to provide you some small comfort as the days ahead. Aww.
Feels like I've been through so much with Eleanor. It meant the world that she believed me. I'll never understand exactly what happened to me down there, but I'll always be grateful. Good thing I sold off all my Typhon stock. I'm pretty sure my voice was already heard by everyone who needed to hear it.
Alyssa at denvertimes.com.
Is it weird that the part of this that bothers me the most is nondescript dive bar?
I know now that my inaction in the face of injustice was itself a terrible wrong. And I know that I will never be able to undo the tremendous pain and loss I caused. I do not ask for forgiveness. The only person who could give that to me is gone. Thank you.
There are no victories at the end of this. Just more painful truth.
Yeah.
Hard to blame Ducky for remaining loyal to his best friend. It still hurt, though. Was Charlotte's response all my fault? Or would she have turned on me no matter what? Must be rare that a local paper gets to break out the really big headline. See? This is why I try to only read the art sections.
Crutches.
This air was powered by adrenaline that whole morning. Now I'm mostly powered by extra strength Advil. And these. I love this guitar, but if it starts asking me riddles again, I'm throwing it out the window. Maybe
No.
Dad deserved everything he got, but I'm still glad we were there with him in his last moments.
Lawyer business
I
card.
want to go outside without seeing anyone. That's why God created rooftops. Maybe I do deserve some $ justice, but I'd much rather be able to move on with my life.
Right.
The LARP was 2 days ago. That doesn't seem possible.
Right. It's Steph.
Hey, Steph.
Alex, wait. Before you say anything, I have to get this out.
Okay.
Anxious?
What you did at the council meeting, it was the bravest thing I've ever seen. And it made me want to be brave too. So, here it goes. I want to be with you. I don't give a shit about playing music or seeing the world. I mean, I do, but only if it's with you.
Oh, my
And if you'd
heart.
rather stay here instead, then... fuck it. I want to stay here too.
My heart. David.
I've never had anyone barge in to tell me that they wanted to be with me before.
Yeah? How'd it feel?
Alex, you deserve it. Steph will look after you. I have that on good authority.
You've, given me a lot to think about.
Well, good. That was the idea. You know where to find me. Good luck, Jen.
Thanks, Steph.
She doesn't need luck. That's what you're for. They're so precious. They're not Max and Chloe precious, but they still are. They're still precious. Max and Chloe still just win out because, you know, Max and Chloe, but...
Alright. Just tell me.
Looks like they're gonna get a happy ending too, though. Which still...
What?
My future. What to do? The night of the Spring Fest, Steph made a strong push for leaving with her. Playing on the road, the excitement of the unknown. Of course, that was before all the shit went down. Come on, you're the know-it-all. So tell me.
Actually, I do know what you should do. You should stay in Haven.
Of course. You're right. I've never had a home before. Friends, a job, a place to live. Why would I give that up now?
Yes, it's what she's always wanted. Now she seems to have found it. There's no reason to leave.
Then again, maybe leaving would be better.
What?
You're young, you suddenly have a little money, friends. And don't you think it's time to give this music thing a real shot? No, you should definitely leave.
What?
Fuck off.
Agreed.
Stop it, Gabe. I don't need the mysterious spirit bullshit right now.
If Steph is willing to stay for her,
I just
there's no
need-
reason for her to leave.
I just need my big brother.
Steph wants her over her own hopes and dreams.
I know.
And that's fucking adorable.
But here's something. It's 3 hours from now. A bus pulls away. You're not on it. And neither is Steph.
Oh, my heart. Life
goes
is
on.
strange shit that lives. What is this madness? I'm taking it. I am taking it to the bank.
You get a job working with Steph at the record store.
Oh, that's so fucking adorable. Yes.
All those years of being a music snob finally pay off. And little by little, time does its thing.
What happened to Jed? Did he get, like, imprisoned? And if he did or didn't, did he never come back? I feel sorry for him, really. Because he's such a nice guy. Okay, he did some bad stuff, but...
The apartment starts to feel less like a museum, and more like a home.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts of Jed, of Typhon, and even of me begin to fade into the background.
Really? We never got to talk to Ryan again. Community run establishment. Riley's back. At least I know that Riley. Yeah.
The rooftop is your stage. You perform every week to a small but adoring group of fans. Maybe while you play, you wonder what could have been. Performing for more people in more cities, sharing your music with the world.
Nah, the girl just wanted a home. 'Cause she never had that.
Or maybe you never think about that much at all.
No, she doesn't have to. I think she got what she wanted.
You don't know exactly when it happens. But one day you look around and find that you have transformed this place just as much as it has transformed you.
I think the fact is he brought her here to do that as well.
And the most extraordinary thing of all is just how normal it feels. You don't
Yeah.
question it. You don't doubt it. Or wonder what might have been. It's your life. The life you fought so hard to have.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time in a long time, you just live.
Yeah. She deserves it more than anyone. So,
Thank you.
Don't
yeah.
mention it.
You really think I'll transform Haven?
Of course. You already have. With your gift, your music, just by being you.
Yeah.
But Alex, that doesn't mean you have to stay. You have the potential to do that anywhere you go.
He's right.
Where am I supposed to go? I don't have any other home.
That is true. But you didn't have any home before coming here. And look what happened. The truth is, there's no telling what that version of your future might be. The only promise is the adventure. So, what do you think?
Easy.
I know what I want.
Steph won't go, there's no reason for Alex to leave. Because she's found everything she wanted and everything she couldn't have growing up, you know. And unfortunately, we're going to have to mute everything for a bit here because in trying to upload this video, I've had a lot of problems with the blocking of it. Basically because almost the entire soundtrack plays during the credit sequence, and I can see this being a problem for a lot of people, this part in particular, for that reason. A lot of streamers will probably have to have turned off the music completely to stream the game, and obviously people who monetize their YouTube videos would have to mute the music as well. It's a shame because I absolutely adore this game's soundtrack, and there's not really been a problem for me throughout, but uploading this final video has been a bit problematic in terms of blocks because of the music. So it's a shame that we're going to have to mute it, and I'll have to do this part in post-cob. And what I'm going to do here is talk a little bit about the game. Maybe if we've got some time before my choices, I will talk about some things coming in the future as well, because I've done one playthrough that I'll be putting up and starting another one that I've been really enjoying. When the choices finally show up on the screen, that's when we'll return to the post-com kind of final thoughts. But to fill out the gap, because we haven't got any music, and obviously because I'd already rendered this part with my commentary included, I should have known, really. I should have been smart and just muted the music until that point. I should have really noticed it. But I didn't think I was going to be having this much of a problem. It's only with this video, believe it or not. But them's the breaks. We'll just have to do it this way for a bit. So let's talk for a bit while we kind of fill out the credit sequence. And the first thing I want to say is that Life is Strange True Colors is a fucking wonderful game. An absolutely wonderful, wonderful game that is so much closer to the first game than Before the Storm and Life is Strange 2 ever were in comparison. Deck 9's second outing in the Life is Strange universe knocks the first one out of the park. Now, let me explain what I mean by that for a moment, because I know a lot of people are going to be up in arms about it. They're saying, oh, Before the Storm was actually great. Hear me out, because I think playing this game has made me realize a lot more about Before the Storm than I originally thought. I always said in my Project PC run of the game, which was my second playthrough of the game, that I realized at the end how much the story as a whole wasn't really that great. Now, hear me out here. Deck 9, the objective of Deck 9 and Before the Storm, I've always said this, was to bring Rachel Amber, the character, into the series. Because a lot of people after Life is Strange 1 really kind of felt that, I really wish we got to meet Rachel Amber and know her character and all that, and me included. I wish we'd got to meet her as well. And when Before the Storm was coming out, I, along with many others, was initially excited because we get to see Rachel the person for the first time. I was really excited about that, probably more than actually reuniting with Chloe and Arcadia Bay and all that. Rachel Amber was probably the thing I was most excited for. Basically, Deck 9 heard that we all wanted that, and placed her on this canvas and go, we're going to make a story that involves Rachel Amber. We're going to make a prequel story. And then basically, imagine they place it on the canvas and they go, right, so if we're going to do this, we need to include a lot of things that tie in with the first game. And the first game's story really kind of does tell a little bit about Rachel Amber in pieces, and then you get the big things in episode 5 where Jefferson's talking about her and all that. And you kind of piece together how it all fit through other things in the game, like Rachel's letters to Frank and one to Chloe in the junkyard. And basically, it's all kind of little nuggets of story that Deck 9 probably have to factor in. So they have to factor in that at one point she's going to go missing, and all that. She's going to have her scenarios that lead her up to that. And basically, most of Life is Strange 1's story has to be placed on the canvas and placed there. So there's that portion of creative freedom kind of taken away from Deck 9, if you like. That portion is gone. they look at it again, and they look at Rachel Amber again, and they go, okay, so if we're going to do this, and we only need to do 3 episodes, by the way, that's another piece of creative freedom gone. So they only have 3 episodes in conjunction to 5, and that is because of most of the story that's told for the first one about Rachel Amber. But to bring Rachel Amber into the game and to make that all line up and make sense, we need to bring back a lot of returning characters. So Chloe Price, because of her relationship to Rachel that's told in the first game. Victoria Chase, because she has her kind of own angle with Victoria Chase being her understudy, and bring back Nathan Prescott because of Nathan Prescott and the situation that happened with Nathan and Rachel and how she came to be as she was in that game without spoiling it too much. But I'm sure everyone's already played at that point, but still. So yeah, those are 3 characters that need to come back immediately because of that. And then with Chloe, you have to bring back Joyce Price and David Madsen because Joyce is her mother, and her mother's with David at that point. So, and obviously with the locales of Arcadia Bay and Blackwell Academy, with Blackwell Academy, you have to bring back some other students like Justin, Evan. Cameo from Brooke, no Alyssa, no Kate, no Max, and they've also got their own characters like Drew and Mikey North and Steph Gingrich. Now Mikey's going to be in the Wavelengths DLC, as we know from the trailer. So basically, you can already tell where I'm going with this. With everything they had to factor in to make it all line up with the first game and kind of be the story they wanted to be in the 3 episodes and the time span they had to bring back a lot of returning things. And basically, a lot of Deck 9's creative freedom was taken away for Before the Storm. And it all makes kind of sense now. Because you play this game and you realise that creative freedom is so much bigger because they made their own place, their own power, their own story, their own characters with Alex and Jed and Gabe and all these, and Riley, her grandmother, or her nan, whichever you want to call it, and Eleanor, and Jed, and all these people. And the only returning character from that whole cast is Steph Gingrich. So you can really tell how much more creative freedom they have with just that alone. Their place, their characters are almost all new, and you can just tell. There's nothing with the previous games in it. It's not tied to the previous games at all, so it gives Deck 9 much more creative freedom, and they decide to have a Steph DLC that features Mikey. Some people say that maybe Chloe and Rachel will make an appearance. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. It is in 2017, which is a few years after the first game, I think. I'm pretty sure the first game was in 2013, and Chloe and Rachel had already had their story happen by 2017, so I'm not even sure how that happens. So I'm assuming that maybe at one point in that Wavelengths DLC is going to be more of a flashback rather than actually something you experience in Wavelengths then. Now that I think about it, it's got to be a flashback, right? It can't be during her time in Haven Springs. It could do it with Mikey, and then maybe they have a memory of maybe Chloe playing with them if Chloe is in it. And with Rachel in it, yeah, that would probably make sense. I would actually assume that that's the case. So, continuing on, let's move on to Life is Strange 2 then. So with Before the Storm, it all makes kind of sense of how much creative freedom was taken away from them, and you can really see how all that creative freedom translates into this game, making it a much better experience than Before the Storm was. When Life is Strange 2 comes in, I've seen a lot of people, I said this earlier, I've seen a lot of people that really are valiantly defending Life is Strange 2 and saying how much of a great game it was. And like I said, I sit there and think, what game did you play? Because it certainly wasn't the same one I had. Now, don't get me wrong, Before the Storm and Life is Strange 2 still do belong in the Life is Strange universe, but the thing is, Life is Strange 2's story was probably worse than Before the Storm in a lot of ways. And definitely worse than this one. Definitely worse than this one. The time jumps between episodes was so bad and jarring that you really didn't know how they even got there, and you just had to guess. You know, there wasn't really... Obviously, you had you had Sean's journal, but I don't think that really explained a lot. It was only like small paragraphs, so there wasn't really a lot there to kind of go on. So, and then obviously there's other problems with Life is Strange 2 where the pacing and the plot just fall into the toilet. Episode 3 is the worst Life is Strange episode I have ever played. The pacing in the beginning is to the toilet, and the sequence is boring, and it's like nothing happens, and it's just a terrible Life is Strange episode. I'm sorry, it just is. Episode 1 is more of an introductory, I understand. With episode 4, it had a great ending, and with Life is Strange 5, episode 5, it was really great seeing David and the mementos, and if you sacrifice Arcadia Bay, you actually get a prize field photo, which is just the greatest thing ever. I will agree with that, but episode 3 was just in the toilet with the pacing at times. It just was, and like I said, episode 2 is by far the best episode in the game, but there's just so many times when the writing is just the views. It's like what's the word? You know, the kind of the characteristics of people and the views it has, and the way that, you know, it negatively portrays some people that probably, you know, it's so much was just wrong with Life is Strange 2. It just felt you know what I mean? And like it was just pale in comparison to the first game, and so pale in comparison to this game. It seriously, like, when you barely had days between jumps in time between, I wouldn't say episodes, I'd say chapters in this game. It all connected and really made sense. You know, it just did. And let's talk about that game now. So yeah, this is way ahead of Life is Strange 2 and Before the Storm for me, but it's not just that. It's like the intrigue in the Alex Chen for me as a character, and this is going to sound absolutely like a big surprise, but Alex Chen and Steph Grungrich, if I'm to make an order of characters, Alex Chen and Steph Grungrich are ahead of Kate Marsh, and I adored Kate Marsh, so they did something hella right with Alex Chen and Steph Grungrich to put them ahead of Kate Marsh. Seriously, Alex Chen is almost on par with Maxine Caulfield. She is one of the best girls in the series. I'm not even joking. Seriously, she is just someone I just adore at this point. And world, please protect her. Like, my god, her story is so fucking heartbreaking. It breaks your heart to learn that someone has been through so much fucking hardship and be dealt a very cruel hand in life. World, protect her, please. Steph, protect her. People, let's all form an Alex Chen protection squad like Kate Marsh, and let's just throw Kate Marsh in there as well. Let's all just form an Alex Chen protection squad, because world, protect her, please. She's precious, damn it. And it's like she's just got so many. She's not as an introvert as Max is. She's a bit more open than Max, I would say, but that's not a bad thing. But she's almost on par with Maxine Caulfield, and the only reason she's almost on par with her is because of how much I just would defend Maxine Caulfield to the hills, because a lot of people just don't like her anymore, and it just angers me. And I have all this running joke that Deck 9 don't like Max at all. That's really just a joke I have. It's not really fact, but it really just seems that way. But the Max reference in episode 4 was just so like, yes, my Max gets a reference in the game, and obviously she's not going to be part of anything else, because Deck 9 really have taken a lot of the focus away from Max. Like I said, what they had to do with Max is really just portray how Chloe sees Max. It's not a Deck 9 personal thing, as much as I'm meant to make out sometimes. It's just a running joke I have. It's not actual fact, because then they made up with it with a farewell episode, bringing back Hannah Tale, and just seeing the vulnerability and the love in like Max's voice when she talks, especially to Chloe. And it's just like, yeah, that really kind of made up for him. So Alex Chen is now one of the best girls in the series. Steph Grungrich, they've both gone up ahead of Kate Marsh. But I think if it was to make a character order and a tier list, I think I'd end up being unfair somewhere, and I don't want to, but I probably will do a tier list for that. I think I will actually do that. I'll have to see which ones are actually made, because I probably couldn't make one myself because I suck. But I can sense myself, if I do that, then I will be unfair somewhere. But they did a damn fine job of putting 2 people ahead of Kate Marsh, and it's someone who I absolutely just adored. So, yeah, good going, Deck Knight. But anyway, yeah. Obviously, the timescales are like the characters, and just the wholesome people in this series. It really just made me fall in love with the series all over again, and gave me so much love. It gave so many memories of my love for the first game and the characters I had. And the one thing that I would say, that on a technical level, this has been outstanding. The motion capture is just so on par compared to the first game. That was one of the criticisms people had about the first game, and I agree that the mouth sync and the lip syncing wasn't as good. They kind of improved it a little bit from episode 4 with a patch, but right out of the gate, this game's motions and motion capture was brilliantly portrayed to the point where you really feel that these are real people. That's what I loved about games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and it's just like the emotions people feel, you can see in their facial expressions, and you really feel that you're with that character experiencing that. That's one thing I loved about that. With Alex, when she talks, and she's doing these facial motions that just feels like she's a real character. Wow. I mean, the whole Chen-Rich supremacy kiss was just like the most wholesome thing. Seriously, it's like I said, it's just how I wish the pool scene had gone in the first game and how that ended. Because the setup was beautiful, and then you got Max staring into at Chloe so lovingly, and it's just like, oh my god, Chloe, turn your face and just kiss her to death, please. But no, that was a missed opportunity. But I wish that had been the case, and it wouldn't have been thrown in during a destruction of Arcade Bay thing. They obviously didn't throw that. They did that as a goodbye thing. So I guess that kind of makes sense, and I kind of understand that. But why couldn't they just have one where the world wasn't falling apart around them and Max had to make a devastating choice? You know what I mean? Why? I say this all the time. Why couldn't Pricefield just have their happy ending when they truly deserved it? But anyway, I'm going off topic. I'm going to stop. Yeah, man, this game just really made me fall in love with the series all over again. It seriously did. And it's such a great return to form after the subpar entries of Life is Strange 2 and Before the Storm. And Before the Storm is much more forgiving, given what they were doing with Life is Strange 2 was. Life is Strange 2 it's not the worst. It's the worst in the series, but only by a matter of preference. It's not a bad game at all. I said that. And there was a lot of things I did love about the first game, but the second game rather. But over the last 2 games, and then comparing it to this one wipes the floor with the previous 2 entries. It just does. The only thing I would really say is that the space in time between one thing being said and another being said was kind of long and jarring sometimes. But I think that might have been more a case with the game and just coming out. I think there's been a couple of patches with the game since then, and maybe they fixed it with that. But it was very kind of, short. It was very kind of like small snippets of information. It wasn't actually a game-breaking experience to me. So, just everything about this game is just so wonderful. The setting is not... Haven Springs is a beautiful place, I'm going to say. Haven Springs is a beautiful place. Almost every character is relatable and wholesome and brilliant. And even though Jed really had turned out to be the semi-villain, I guess, he's not really a villain, really, in my mind. I think if we're going to have an antagonist or a villain, then Typhoon is probably it. But even then, it's like they didn't intend for Gabe to die. They didn't just kill him. They had to do what they had to do to cover up things. They were really good at covering. They wanted to cover up things and mistakes they made in the past. but they didn't intend to kill anyone in the process. You know, Gabe wasn't really supposed to die. He wasn't even supposed to be there. The reason he was there was because obviously Ethan obviously went there. Now, I think in theory, if I had, say, for example, told Ethan not to go to the mine, he would have ended up going anyway, and then not telling Gabe, and then we wouldn't have told Gabe about it. But it wouldn't have mattered, because I think he would have gone anyway, because that's to advance the plot. So, yeah. So there isn't really an antagonist or villain, really. Typhoon's, like, probably the worst, but, you know, I don't think they're full-on villains. I really believe that Jed is not as villain as you'd think. I mean, yeah, he shot Alex and everything, but I don't think he's as villain as people make out. He probably should have saved his men, let's be honest, but, you know, he wanted to atone for it, I feel. You know, it's a bit like when Nathan Prescott tried to rescue Kate Marsh, because I believe this. I believe Nathan Prescott pulled Kate Marsh out of that hellhole event. Well, he probably took her there in the first place, but in hindsight, he probably saved her to try and atone for Rachel Amber. I feel that was what Jed was trying to do, especially when he probably learned about Gabe in the first place. You know, he put a roof over Gabe's head, didn't really bother him for rent too much. He was doing the same with Alex. So I think in hindsight, taking care of the Chen siblings was probably going to be something like a way for his atonement for what he did, but he could never really escape his past, and it was really unfortunate, really. So I don't think Jed was really a bad guy. So yeah, it's the cast of characters is just phenomenal in this game. I love every single one of them, and like I said, Alex Chen and Steph Greenrich have now beaten Kate Marsh. But that doesn't mean I adore Kate Marsh any less, because I couldn't. But I probably sound like I have a crush on Kate Marsh. No, it's not that. It's not that. I'm too old for that. But it's not like that. But oh my god, she was just so wholesome at the time. But Alex Chen and Steph now is just like, oh my god. It like I'm so glad Steph was put in a future game where Deck Knight had the curative freedom to do her exactly as they wanted. And my god, Steph Greenrich is the biggest benefactor from the fact that Deck Knight have so much curative freedom now. Really. She really does belong at this point. I'm serious. Wow, what a phenomenal game. What a phenomenal game that made me fall in love with the series all over again. And even though, like I said, Life is Strange 2 and Before the Storm, it's not that they didn't do that. It's just that they were very subpar compared to the first game, especially Before the Storm after the second time I played it. But I don't think they're bad games at all. But I don't understand where the valiant defense of Life is Strange 2 in particular has come from. Don't get me wrong. I love the Diaz brothers. That they were great, but everything else just no. I mean, the representation in that game is just, and the stuff the views it kind of says with, if that's the right word, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, it's so bizarre. It's just a really odd game with very in the toilet pacing at times, and yeah. But it doesn't mean I don't like the game any less. I don't think there will ever be a Life is Strange game I don't like, personally, especially after this one. But some things I just notice, even when playing it just the one time. It just, it was kind of jarring and odd and very pacing into the toilet at times. But it's not a bad game, it just had some issues. And every game has issues. But wow, this game just really relit my love for the series. It really did. It's a masterpiece. Seriously, nothing will beat the first game. Let's get that out there. Nothing will beat the first game in my heart for a lot of reasons, like Chloe and Max in particular, and Kate, and the story. And that was another thing about Life is Strange 2. The Life is Strange 2, they took the power, playing as the character power away. You know? You weren't the kid with the power, you were the brother of the kid with the power, and it made it very much less enjoyable. That's the thing that is obviously true. And that's the thing, with this game, the power is it feels fun. Even though it's probably an invasion of privacy kind of thing, they don't really portray it like that. With Steph, especially leading up to the Foolsville game, it wasn't done as invading her privacy and her private thoughts. Ryan didn't want to do any of that after Jed, but I understand why he wouldn't want to do that, and I understand why he's defending Jed, because he's his dad, and Jed is a person worth defending, even though he did all that. But the whole thing with Steph was trying to make her better. She wasn't trying to invade her privacy or be nosy. You know, Max was always unintentionally nosy. That's another thing between Alex and Max. It's like, they don't mean to be nosy. Alex didn't mean to be nosy, she wanted to make her better. The same with Diane, and even like the fear thoughts and everything. It wasn't invading their privacy and invading their private thoughts that they wanted for themselves. They just wanted to... She just wanted to help. And the whole thing with like Steph and going, oh my god, does she think I'm hot? Does she messing with me? And then Alex just reassuring her, being the most boldest woman ever, and going for my hand in marriage in the whole bar. That was just wonderfully done. That was just so wonderfully done by Alex. That was just such a smooth move, man. She's just got so much with Max, and I love her for it. Yeah, more people staying in Haven Springs. Yeah, makes sense. That's probably the only choice to me, given Alex's history. Gage over his actions, 72%, not surprised, because I don't think he was the bad guy of sorts. Claims she learned the feeling of home, 44%, not fear of emotions. I almost went with that, but... Oh, everyone on the council supported Alex, 11%. 84% some of the council members, and 5% none of them. Huh. Alex wanted to play her music in the future. Alex wanted to belong somewhere in the future, 42%. Wanted to help more people in the future, 44%. It's probably during the Jed conversation. Oh, I missed that one. Alex forgave Ryan for not believing her. Wasn't ready to forgive him, 4%. Didn't see Ryan out of the vote, 51%. And 30% stood by Alex during the vote. Could you have meeting Ryan? I don't know. Maybe you meet Ryan if you romance him throughout the game. But as soon as I romance Steph, I probably didn't get that. Charlotte sided with Alex during the vote, 37%. Charlotte believed Alex but couldn't help, 1%. Wow. Charlotte turned her back on Alex, 62%. Eleanor sided with Alex during the vote, 48%. Offered to get help, 52%. Pike sided with him during the vote, 70% to 30%. Ducky remained loyal to Jed, which makes sense. Ducky sided with Alex during the vote, 56%. It must have been something I missed with Ducky. I'm not sure what, though. I believe Jed during the vote for 71%. Makes sense. Ryan and Alex start dating in Haven Springs, 20%. Ryan leaves Haven to be with Alex, 7%. And don't get together, 73%. Poor Ryan, I actually feel sorry for him there. Steph stays with Haven, 37%. Steph and Alex leave 36%. So it was only 1% between those two. And don't get together, 27%. Oh my god. That's kind of like a high percent. I didn't really expect that. I'm not sure if Clarks has finished the game because I didn't. I saw him pop up earlier. I need to do that for the other two episodes. I will back out and do that. I forgot to check what Clark did throughout the rest of the game, so I'm going to quickly do that before we sign off for this playthrough. Where is it? Is it extras? Choices. Here we go. So we did the first one, didn't we? So, friend stats. So we calm Mike down. I'm assuming this is Clark. Reminded Eleanor about what happened to 100%. Trusted. Signed Typhoon's agreement. He actually made her agree with it and sign it. And started calling over the Doc 100. She died at the apartment. He put Gabe's memory on the table. He made Alex made a sad face on the dartboard. He chose that. I didn't even look at it. He went with Arwen as I did. Alex didn't sit at the table on the rooftop. He didn't do that, but I did. Alex put one's called the wake. Extended Alex's forgiveness. He made him forgive himself. I'm on chapter 1 again. What? Wait. Oh, okay. So he actually shared a hug with Ryan. Oddly enough. Steph beat him in the football. Yeah, I actually saw his stream VOD of that. That was hilarious. I think he got flustered by Steph asking him, Alex, does she like girls? Steph made Covey his Lord boss. He helped the bird watcher, and he helped the sad dude down his dog, but I probably already did that, didn't I? Now that I think about it. So he chose Steph. He took Charlotte's anger. He made her sad. We pretty much lined up. Oh, he listened to Sugar Pie Riot. He did the weeding. I completely missed it. And he won the battle. So we both removed the fear from Pike. Oh, apparently he didn't give anyone a rose at all? Huh, Clux, you surprised me, dude. Nice one by the bonfire. He did it, but I didn't. We both didn't sit on the couch. He picked going to Berlin, I picked the ocean, but he still got the kiss even though he didn't... Oh, okay. So, we're the same there. Same there. He revealed Anna was innocent and Riley stayed. Used the power with Ducky, we didn't even do it. If we'd used the power, he may have sided with us. I think now. He helped in the jelly bean contest, but I didn't even know how to. The MyBot post 100%, he did that. And he got the couple together that we did as well. He left to hit the road to play her music. He denounced... Oh my god, really? Trying not to learn her emotions. He got the same as me on the council. He wanted to help more people in the future. That makes sense. But I should belong somewhere because of her upbringing and how tough that had been. We both didn't do that. Both didn't see Ryan. Both had Charlotte turn her back. Eleanor offered to get Alex help. Clark had that. He actually got Ducky helped. Huh. And he went to... Yeah, he went to leave. Okay. Well, a couple of those surprised me, but a few of them don't. He'll know what I mean. Alright then, so that is pretty much it until another 15 or so days from now. With the Wavelength story. And I've said it all in the credits. I said it all in the credits. And RP, just long story short, yeah. This game reminded me why I loved the series in the first place. So, that's all that really needs to be said. Great effort from Deck 9. Alex now belongs. One of the best girls in the franchise, I think. Now. Steph is much more awesome than she already was. And Haven Springs, yeah, a great place with great people. It's just a shame that Jed had to be the big twist, but I don't personally believe he was bad. But he made a really bad mistake, and I guess at that point he had to pay for it, which was unfortunate, but it doesn't make him a bad person. He was such a good person throughout it all. Yeah, he shot Alex, but I think he did that out of fear rather than malice, I guess. I mean, it's not right. It's not right, obviously. Never right, but you can kind of understand his reasoning. Somewhat. Maybe. Maybe I'm just too nice, I don't know. But that is it for the playthrough of Life is Strange 2 Colors. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love this game like I loved the first one. And if Deck 9 do take the reins again, can't wait. And I do hope this franchise continues, because I'm so in love with it that I would probably want more games to come out. I think there'll be a third. I think there will. I think Domod will return with a third, and then we'll just have to see where it goes from there. But as for a second outing for Deck 9, they knocked the first outing out of the park in my view. Yeah. Don't know why we've lost connection to network, but it's not like we've been having any network things anyway. Alright, so I'm signing off. Until next time, if you have not played this game, please play this game, because it's awesome. It's a Life is Strange game, so yes. And that's it. And what a great game by Deck 9 this was. I'm Spin Chaos. I'm signing off. Until next time, you guys know what to do. Follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I will check you next time in the next playthrough of the next project I decide to do. And I will see you guys soon. Take care, guys. Stay safe and stay awesome.